So come on in, take a sip. Let's wind down. It's Friday afternoon. It's a wonderful day, and today we are pouring a Zonin Bardolino, and this is the Classico, and it is from 2023. Just a gorgeous wine, somewhere in the €12 per bottle range. I would imagine during the heyday that would have been somewhere around 30 or 40 bucks in the States, so not a terribly expensive wine. It's very pale. I look at it here in the white light. Extremely pale. Easily tell the time on my watch. But it's wonderful cassis, and it's light. It's almost playful on the nose. We're tannic. The serving temperature right now, 58 degrees, is perfect. This would go with a number of things. It's not heavily tannic, but this has got a slight tannic side. So you got something with some oils in it. Yeah, maybe you're having like a light duty something or other, maybe chicken salad sandwich, cucumber sandwiches with a salad of some sort. Probably want to include some cheese and some oil in your vinaigrette, obviously. But this is just a delightful one. Very smooth finishing too. Just beautiful. You might as well say goodbye to this thing. It will be gone tonight. But it will have left us for a good cause. So that's the way I'm kind of seeing it. But happy Friday to everyone. This is a big day for me because, well, first of all, it's the start of my weekend. Second of all, it's the penultimate day of the week when it comes to my favorite crosswords. I just love Fridays, and Saturday is always what just fuels me. I just can't wait. Saturday morning, I'm kind of champing at the bit to get to it. So let's hop on into it, see what we got. We got a, wow, is it already July 18th? Because outside it kind of feels like it might be October in Texas. Let's see. We've got a construction here by Kelly Morenus, and of course edited by Will Shorts. And really, what a lovely, pale, beautiful red wine. Yeah, I know. I just saw a laser pointer. Right? Ooh, there went the laser pointer. Got to go scratch at it there. I'll try to get serious here. Let's hop into our grid and see what we got. Okay, so makes good. And we've got 6 letters. Amends. Atones, pays up. I don't know where I would go with that. So deity who helped Hercules through his 6th labor, and I do believe that would be Athena. I need to revisit the labors of Hercules. It's been a while since I've read through them, and yeah, that might be a sticking point for me. I better refresh my memory at some point. So a short preview, and again, it's 6 letters. If we're going to, amends, short preview, if atones is there, then that could be a teaser. So, okay. I'm going to go ahead and put in atones. It feels like that might be the right answer. So, whiskey distiller's mixture. And 8 letters. Maybe a sour mash? I know I sound hesitant at that. I don't, actually. I'm just a little concerned. Psycho screenwriter Joseph, that would be Stefano. Stefano, maybe it's an F-A-N-O, unless I'm thinking of another Joseph, but that kind of works with sour mash, so I kind of want it to all work for it. So find pleasure in could be to enjoy. So far, this is not going to be an easy grid. It just seems like it's going to make us work for this today. So a poetic adverb, I guess we're talking about oft, well, tough. So maybe that's just, well, we got 6 letters, maybe too bad. I can't get, that's just the way it is. Some things will never change, but then I'd have to deal with Bruce Hornsby's lawyers, I'm sure, for rights on that one. So, blade sharpener. You know, the first thing that comes to mind is a stone, like a wet stone, but I'm fairly certain we're probably looking for a strop. So, high res would fit that R. Les Miserables number with a number in its name, and that's, I think, One Day More. And it reminds me of Jailhouse Rock at the very beginning, where that poor guy, that old fella's playing his guitar, and he's singing One More Day. And I don't know, I think they walked him down to the gallows or something. I mean, I was a kid when I saw it, like maybe 7 years old, but I do remember that song. And that was pre-VCR time periods. There was no recording anything, right? So the Brickyard 400 or Southern 500, I have no idea at all whatsoever, but it feels like it's spelling itself out to be a NASCAR race. And have never been a fan of NASCAR. I don't come down on it or anything. I just love formula racing, love yacht racing. Yeah, that's probably about it. That's my racing loves. I don't know. Cutting tool could be a parer, which would give us our strop. And part of a trial. Maybe a defense. Recent as a memory. Could be fresh. You could have also used that as a descriptive for my mouth most of the time as a child, and more than likely continuing as an adult. Though now I think you just call it witty or clever. But it would have been fresh when I was a child. So a tiny bit could be a skosh. And my old ass, I've seen the trailers for this. I don't know that it's going to be my kind of movie, but I do think that the premise is pretty funny. And who wouldn't want to go back and talk to themselves when they were 12 or 16 or whatever? You know, I'd have so much advice from me at 12. I'd just be like, look, dude, one day you're going to be middle-aged, and it's going to be pretty cool, and you'll be pretty cool, and you'll look okay, and you'll be doing fine. Just don't, just say no to drugs or something. I don't know what I would say to myself, but I mean, what can you say? As soon as you meet that pretty girl, Jerry, jump on that train, right? That's probably what I'd say. So berries could be inters, and humdingers could be corkers. So to answer Katie's question in person, she wrote a note to me yesterday. I want to know how I saw culinary arts in yesterday's grid, and I think I had CULI and then an AR at the bottom with two blanks. It was just, but I think part of the trick at the crossword is kind of like playing Wheel of Fortune. You're just looking for patterns, and since we're all pattern-seeking primates, right? It's what we do. We're always trying to determine if that's the sound of wind in the grass or if it's something with agency and teeth, And so, I think we're pattern seekers, and then we kind of take our context clues. But yesterday's grid was so confusing in a way. I mean, it was pretty abstruse, but it was very clever in the end. And so when I have those like that, I always feel like I'm doing the cryptic, the Guardian cryptic. And at that point, sometimes I'm just trying to figure out what might fit in there, right? It's hard to get through the cluing. French possessive, how about notre? And classic hot rods, really, if next time I construct a grid, I'm going to have to, if I wind up with a GTOs in there, I'm going to have to come up with something different for that. It's always a classic hot rod or something, right? Classic muscle cars. I don't know. Down. Ingest, maybe? Let's see. That in Mexico, eso. For the masculine, yes, very nice. And uncertain could be not sure. Also, my favorite character in Idiocracy. Not sure. So, if you haven't seen Idiocracy, it's kind of like Spinal Tap. This is Spinal Tap. You got to see it. You just have to. And all three Paddingtons. And while you're at it, you might want to see Coco. Just saying. Absorbs. Well, we've got some real We got some real corkers in here today, don't we? I don't know. Subsumes, maybe? This is a clever grid. Certain fraternity guy informally. I don't know. A SIG. Quisling as an example. I guess we're talking about a traitor. So maybe a SIG. What do we got here? They might be rough or perforated, or they could be smooth and gilded. Like those Wild West books from Time Life. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Instrument with a deep, rounded back. I think we're going for a lute. Wouldn't mind trying to play one of those one day. Staff notes. Okay, we're not going to be dealing with treble or bass clefs, at least. We're talking about memoranda. So, driver's license. No idea. I'm trying to go for their winter athlete. No idea. A Luang Prabang native, and I think that would be a Lao. I mean, I'm kind of a geography nerd, but yeah, we're getting pretty obscure here. So out into the ether is what we're doing. But man, this is a good wine. And I'm going through it so quickly. Or it could be that I got new wine glasses and they're tiny. So I have to get up and refill more often, and that gives me more steps. So it's really healthier. Fight dirty. Winter athlete could be a loser. And so maybe, if legality is too long, maybe a legal ID? I don't know. They glisten in a classic Irving Berlin tune. Where the tree tops glisten. It fits, I'm hoping. We'll see what we got. Verbal flourishes could be tadas, and that'll line up with my legal at least. Shepherd's warning. Maybe a growl. Speaking of things with agency and teeth, yeah. So yeah, if you just assume that it's the wind, you're gonna probably knock yourself out of the gene pool, and it might be good for humanity. But then the rest of us will always be thinking there's something dangerous lurking there. So fight dirty. We probably have a mud wrestle. So we'll be fighting dirty, all right. So works one's way up. So let's put in legal ID. Let's get something going there. And I guess we're talking about maybe rises. Site in a tomato patch. A tomato patch. I don't know. Explicit subject for her. Contest. Receiving end. The question mark. Imply could be to get at. Yeah, I'm going for all of the low-hanging fruit here. So, okay. This is when I start doing the dad groan. Receiving end, I think we're shooting for a G. It's the end of the word receiving. So, I really contest. I guess that could be to argue. Concocts could be creates. Yeah, I got to tell you, Kelly Morenus, you are really, really making me work for it today. So I'm going to go over argue. Argue. Which could be considered an argy-bargy in the UK, or a Barney. I'm warming myself up for The Guardian, which is right after this one. Explicit subject for her. Oh, okay. So I guess we have an antecedent. Clever enough. So maybe you think we have to stake tomatoes, right? I always see that at the garden store. Tomato things, whatever they're called. Farm cry, a ba or a ma, or more specifically a meh or a bat. So we'll see. Akkadian or Phoenician. I think we're looking for a Semite here. So passes could be enacts, and I hear that, I see that gives me the, so, okay. Going overboard with the praise, okay. Do you see it in there? It just kind of jumped out at me. And again, looking for patterns, right? Making sure it's just wind and not something with agency and teeth. But I'm assuming here we're laying it on too thick. And I got to remember that I got some of this already, laying it on thick, not too thick. Okay. Maternal figure. Okay. Theater class assignments could be scenes. So maybe a hen. What do we got here? Mixing board. Okay, a palette. What is this? Comedian Wyatt. I have no idea. I'm assuming Cenac. I don't know who that is. Maybe I'm blushing to say. I don't know. I don't know if I'm supposed to. Rock with bands. Oh, wow. I haven't looked at this word since geology in my freshman year of undergrad. Nice, I think. I don't actually know. Tech news site could be CNET. Blank the Jairite, biblical minister to King David, and that was Ira. That I remember. We don't need to know all the details, so this may be spare us. And lifts up could be elates. And like a 12 down, we get a traitor, so maybe disloyal. So figure skater, a Midori, and that would be Ito. Congressional record. Is this an X? Place to put a pin. Yeah, and where Mandela and Nehru worked on their autobiographies, and I do want a Nehru jacket so badly. I think these would be jails. And place to put a pin would be an axle. And I have a feeling we have a congressional record as a sex tape. So here we go. All right. Olympian Owens could be Jesse. Let's see. Part of a trial defense. So blank is the most convenient time to tax rich people. I'm assuming we're talking about death. I have never heard this before, but I'm going to try to remember that because that seems like a good thing to remember. Dijon season, how about été? And unless I fat-fingered something, which is altogether possible, let's see. How did we do Bob? I just love that little ditty. I just do. I just love that little ditty. Well, thank you, Shotzi. I always like the applause behind me. Sometimes she sits there and it looks like my vestigial twin growing out of my my left shoulder, but really we kind of share everything anyway, so why not? If I could look over like, hey, what do you think? We'll both be in jail if this happens, right? Kind of a thing. So I think, okay, so a lot of this was really very, again, kind of out there in the ether, right? Subsume. When was the last time we used that term? Assuming you're not an attorney at law. I thought Corkers was pretty good. I do use that on occasion, but I've always, I used to have like a nickname of like, walking thesaurus, because, well, English major. But this was just one of these grids that there was nothing that just felt great going in, loved the antecedent, laying it on thick. Pretty much themeless here, right? The disloyal traitor, the sex tape is part of the as the congressional record was just fascinating. And I think of, when I think as a musician, I think of a mixing board as just that, a mixing board. But as an artist, I always refer to it as a palette. I never even consider thinking of it as a mixing board. And I've got palettes all over the place. In fact, on every one of my easel, there's a palette hanging there. So it's really kind of funny. But and I thought interesting too, winter athlete being spelled the same as prized World War II era German sidearm. Interesting. Got to keep that in mind if I ever wind that up in a grid that I create myself. So, but just really on the whole, very clever grid. I groan at G, but at the same time it was clever. It's not like I was making fun of it. I'm just like, because it's the last thing I think of. That's really why I'm groaning about it. Now, on the whole, Kelly Morenus, fabulous job. Beautiful grid and very challenging. I would say in a lot of ways, very much up there with your average Saturday. So we'll bring in our Banny adieu, and we'll call class for the day, right? Let everybody home early, right? It's Friday. Go do whatever you're going to do. Just don't wind up in jail like me and my vestigial twin may wind up later. So, that said, until next time we see you, I just want to make it clear that we appreciate the likes and the subscribes. The member climbing situation is just amazing. Love it in the community. And there's no question there's no such thing as a dumb question. And there's no question that's not good to ask. I mean, all set, right? If you got a question, ask it. Always happy to hear from you no matter what. If you got a criticism, go ahead, let me have it. I went to combat 5 times. I can probably take it. Probably just fine. So just let me have it. Let me know what's on your mind, and maybe it's something we can fix. Maybe it's something we can change up. Who knows? But until we get to the Saturday grid, ich wünsche Ihnen einen schönen Tag noch. Auf Wiedersehen. Tschüss. Servus. Grüß Gott. Ciao. Cin-Cin. Be well out there, and we will see you on the morrow. Until then, if you get around to it, be nice to strangers, especially those behind you in line. Be well.